John Morrow, The List. The List, John Morrow.
I'm going to begin with an unusual question, since most speeches begin with some type of a question. But I'm going to flip the script a little bit. Who here would be courageous enough to raise their hand and say, I hate lists and I don't use them? See, there's a few of you out there. These are courageous people. Most of us use some kind of list or lists, and they have a specific purpose. This is an example of a list. It could be on a legal pad. It could be on the back of a grocery bag. It could be on parchment paper if you've got something that'll write on parchment paper. But here's the key to a list. It gets things done. Sometimes we make the mistake of putting too many things on the list and we get frustrated. So how that list works depends a lot upon your ability to not overthink the things that you want to accomplish. But at the end of the day, you want to be able to see that you have struck through every single item on that list, and you can tear that piece of paper, wad it up, and throw it in the garbage until you're ready to do your list again. Contest master, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests. What if I told you that there was a list that you didn't have to check anything off of, you never had to strike anything through it, it just kept getting longer and longer and longer. And you like it. Back in 2011, when my mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's and vascular dementia, and I realized that the clues were right there in front of me and I didn't notice, I started thinking about the idea that we need to slow down and pay more attention to details. And two things came out of that. Number one, I began to notice more of what we need to see, to hear, and to engage with, as well as be alert to anything that could be problematic. But the other benefit of it was I began to realize there are so many wonderful things happening in those moments. Things that are delightful. Not big things all the time, little things. Like a ladybug on a hibiscus plant. Or perhaps maybe sitting in the park and listening to the sound of children playing, or the sound of rain on a tin roof. And I realized we all know what a gratitude list is, and it was time for me to do one. And so I had this idea that I would start a gratitude list on a steno pad. And I like the steno pad for this reason. There's a line down the middle. Have you ever noticed that? And if you're good at being succinct, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 words you can put, starting on the left side, and fill up the left side, and then go and fill up the right side. Then you have two options. You can either start on the back side, or you can tear that piece of paper off and put it into a stack, and you can go back and look at your list. But I took it a step further. I decided that I wanted to tape my lists end to end, roll them up in a scroll, and keep them so that I could go back and unroll the scroll as time moved forward and look at these wonderful little details. And I worked on that list because having seen the clues that I began to pick up on through the idea of just living in the moment made an impact upon me. And then we began to realize, people, there's a lot of great things taking place in our lives. We need to slow down and live life to the fullest. And I did that. I didn't do it every day. I didn't do it every week. Sometimes I would go for weeks. But the truth is, something happened in my life and I stopped my list. I had it in the Ziploc bag. I had it in the bookcase. And on June the 2nd of 2019, my life stopped. I watched my wife of almost 46 years die right in front of me on the kitchen floor. The list was in the bookcase, gathering dust. What did I have to be thankful for? But you see, this is the thing about life. There are two kinds of people. There are the people that crawl into a corner, climb into the bed, curl up into the fetal position, and wait to die. And then there are those of us that suddenly realize it's time to move forward. And so sometime about 2 years after that, I started my list again. I went back and took it out, and the only change that I made was that I started writing everything in purple ink. Why? It was my wife's favorite color. Are you thankful? Are you grateful? If you're not doing this, I challenge you. Begin tomorrow. Begin tonight. Simply write down 3 things. It doesn't matter what they are. Just write down 3 things. Then do it again tomorrow and do it for 7 days. You have 21 things to be thankful for. And then look at that and tell yourself, do I keep going or do I stop? I want to make you a promise. As long as you're living life to the fullest, you'll never stop your list. Contest Master.